I can't see you. I've got so many, I've
Have you
got so
got too
many
many? I
windows
can see you
open.
being
I can't
completely
actually.
bananas.
I'm waving into space. Where are you? Oh, here you are.
I'm
Awesome.
here somewhere. So I'm hoping that people will remember that we are a little bit earlier.
Oh, that's right. We will be early.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that hasn't, nobody will miss it. But, you know, that's what the
So,
recording's for, isn't it?
well, yeah, but we like people.
It's much nicer to have people live. So if you are here, and I know that there's a couple of you watching already, um, say hello.
Please do say hello and
Hello.
tell us where you.
Alison's just put Babs hello. Love it.
Hello.
Excellent. So
Iris.
I'm so glad you found us early, which is really cool. Really good. Now, as you know, I spent my weekend at the coolest dog behavior
Yeah,
conference ever.
go ahead. Make us all
I
jealous
know,
again.
showing off. I know.
Yeah.
It was proper, cutting edge, like some of the best people. There were some other people there actually that were in the festival. So Mike Shikashio was there. And I was, as I said, think I said last time, I was sharing an Airbnb with Nikki French, who also was talking that had been, I can't remember. Anyway, there were some really, really cool people, and it was too much fun. So I was going to mention some bits, but actually, I think it's a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think, I mean,
If for
you
one, we might need to do some special conference. Ah, we've got some more people here. Iris, the lady with the swimming spaniel, is here. Hi, Iris. That story just made me
Yeah,
laugh.
that was so good. That was so good, that story.
Hey, Janine. Well, it's funny, Alison, because I call Barbara Babs, so
Totally okay. It's it's just that Babsolo is actually tagged. It keeps getting how funny. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yes, Monica, I know. I
Monica.
will I'll go. I don't know. I think Barbara and I probably just need to sit down and decide what are the like key points that we want to share from it. Because there was some bits that were sort of uber geeky that I probably wouldn't put you through. Which, but as you can imagine, I
Hey,
loved
Andrea.
it.
Hey, Andrea. Yeah, also I think there were so many things that there is, we have to create like lots of opportunities and talk about just what what you talked about earlier, with the different feelings, right? That can lead to
Exactly.
creativity. Little spoiler alert. So I mean, we could make a life just about that,
We
actually,
could really,
right?
really easily. I
And
mean, the theme of the conference, it was called When Dogs Bite. So
mm,
it was about, pretty serious behavior issues, and really digging deep into those. But so much of it is just it's so pertinent for our reactive dogs. So yeah, super cool. Super duper cool. So just give everybody a couple of minutes so we can discuss.
so do you what was like a fun thing that happened? Just like, I mean, did you walk around half the day with mustard on your nose or something? Did something really funny happen?
Um, Trying to think if I did anything related. There was one funny thing that happened, actually. There was quite a
Oh,
few
yeah.
funny things that happened. So, but one of them was on the second day. I decided, well, you know what I'm like. I like to blend into the background quite a lot and not really be noticed.
Really?
Yeah. So I was
Right.
wearing on day two a bright pink check jumpsuit. Which was fabulous. Anyway, at one point there was another woman there and she had like a pink tracksuit on and she just came up to me and whispered in my ear, "We're the pinkest people here." It's the only thing that either of us said to each other was
I love it. That's
people
so
here.
good.
Oh, Andy Hale, he was there as well. That was lovely to catch up with Andy. He's so
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, nobody did anything super embarrassing or anything, which was disappointing.
Okay, I'll come next time.
Yeah.
I can take
Hi,
care of
Marion on YouTube. I can see you there. Sorry if I'm a bit slower seeing you. Um, I've only got one pair of eyes. That's my trouble.
So yeah, we keep one on the Facebook and no, I can
I
look at the
could,
Facebook.
couldn't I? I could do that. I need to have
Can
more
you? I can't
things.
do that. I can't look at I wouldn't ask you to do that, but I can keep an eye on the old Facebook if you keep an eye on the YouTube. And then um of course I will be sending you secret messages too, so you keep an eye on that.
Yay! Brilliant. Right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we've got
now
Helen. Helen's here. Greetings from Cornwall. Now,
Helen.
Helen, I met on a dog training weekend I went on. She's lovely. And Nicola is here. And Nicola was lovely. I met her at the conference and she came over because she'd seen the festival, absolutely loved it, had a blast. So that was so blooming nice. So, hi, Nicholas.
Welcome,
Lovely that you're
Nicola.
here. Ah, super.
Oh,
Yes,
and
so
Helen
Emily
can
wants
type.
to hear about it. Hi, Andrea from West Coast of Canada. So yeah, I'll definitely sort of condense and what's the word? Distill my notes. I was saying to Barbara just before we came on, it would be better if I could read my own handwriting.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're
I could
saying.
just message Nicola actually. So if if I can't remember something, I'll be messaging you, Nicola, to see if you've got the notes because I can't read my own handwriting. We've
Hi,
got
Joanne.
Joanne from New Jersey. Lovely. Really nice to see you guys all here. Right. Should we get on with it?
Yeah. So I think before we leave it until the last minute,
Yes,
we have we have actually we have a thing to raffle off, haven't we?
we do. Yes, we do have a
Have a
freebie.
thing. Would you who would like to do a diagnostic call with us? Spend an hour with us in Zoom
Talking about you and your dog's struggles and coming up with a
and
plan
analyzing your channel
for an hour.
challenges. Hey, you interested? Anybody would
Sound
like to do
sound
that?
okay? Good idea.
Not really, it seems. Send us some pineapples. I want to see pineapples. Or lemons. If you don't, if you say no, thank you very much, then send us a lemon. Anyway, that's what we were raffling.
Emily thinks it would be fantastic. So thank you, Emily.
Awesome. Oh yeah,
Oh, and
Alison. Also,
Alison, yes,
yes,
please, she
great of
says.
you.
So
So
Alison's put a baguette and a pineapple. That's how keen she is.
what's that? Pineapple on bread. Interesting. Mm.
Maybe baked goods is something we should go for next time.
Okay, get me off the fruit. Joanne's also totally into it.
Yeah,
3 pineapples
your
in
fruit
4 hours.
obsession.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
No,
Yes, have
no,
them.
it
It
was
sounds
very
like me every
inspirational,
day.
Alice. Don't worry about it. So, what to do to win? I mean, we don't have to raffle it straight away. We can give people a chance to
So
join
you've
and
got
figure
time.
it
Yes,
out.
we're going to give you time
But,
today.
what to do?
Could you um find and send us
What in the
a
comments?
put in the comments, yeah, maybe a fabulous emoji to give us more emoji ideas. Your favorite emoji.
All right. But
Mm.
how do we know if
It
somebody is
can't be a pineapple. It can't be fruit based.
okay, non-fruit?
A non-fruit based because we know that Barbara will be asking for fruit based emojis throughout the
Okay.
live.
So your favorite, we have to, it has to be, there has to be something marking it, otherwise we won't know.
That's true, actually, or else I'll get confused, won't I? What about you put a pink heart and then write what you like best about our lives in the comments.
Oh, you completely changed tack now. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I like
totally.
that.
Totally.
I
Sorry,
like that.
people.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Well, look, I'm not going to confuse the issue any further. Pink heart and something you like about what you like best.
LJ's been playing in between storm systems. How does Bodhi deal with the storms, LJ?
Oh,
I know
wow.
Hattie struggles loads with storms.
Monica says she's already in the reactivity reboot and she loves it. Thank you,
We
Monica.
love having you there as well, Monica. You're
Totally. Mm.
smashing it.
And Iris, who was there already, says we're sailing along nicely at the moment, so probably not right now.
Perfect.
Mm.
Perfect.
Here's to the alumni. Hey, Iris.
Exactly.
Okie dokes. All right. So you guys can think about what you want to share that you like about the lives and post it to the pink heart. And then Julia will enter you on the list for the raffle. We'll do the raffle tonight. And you can win a diagnostic call with us. Cool.
Yes.
Let's get on with it. It's already 12 minutes in, shall we? We have a nice topic today. And it's all about when your dog becomes, or when you and your dog become a public spectacle. So,
I'm
do you?
sure we've all
Yeah,
been there, haven't we?
I'm pretty sure. So here's the thing. Have you ever felt embarrassed with your dog because they reacted in public? So post a pineapple for yes and a banana for no, right? Pineapple for yes, banana for no. If you ever felt embarrassed because your dog acted in public. I
Emily, to enter the raffle, you just need to write what you like about these live sessions that we do on Facebook with a big pink heart. Oh, you've done it already. Oh my gosh, people are doing it already. Oh no.
Oh, you better type
I
then.
know, I better be on it. Anyway, while you look for pineapples and
Okay, let's see. So here we
whatever
go.
else.
Oh, wow. I love how interactive it is. Support from the community. Glad that LG, that body is fine with this. New
Yeah.
ideas that change the way I see tests. And then it keeps me progressing and trying. Great. How easy it is to exchange ideas and how supportive everyone is in the group. Awesome. These are great. Thank you so, guys. Really, those are cookies for us. Sometimes we also need free cookies.
We certainly do.
And lots of pineapples. Okay, yeah, I hear you guys. Me too. I should
Yeah,
have
and me.
posted a whole bunch of pineapples. And posted a pineapple, Kerstin a pineapple, Sue a pineapple. Yeah, it's a thing, hey? And that is really one of the biggies that makes reactivity so hard for us, isn't it? That you can't really hide it. I mean, there are things that, your dog, if your dog doesn't listen when you call them, well, you don't let them off the leash and nobody's ever, gonna know. Or if they steal, if they're counter surfers and they steal the food off your tables or anything like that, who has to know? But that sort of stuff, reactivity can be really quite out in the open and you can't hide it and it kind of puts you on the spot often, doesn't it? So what would you guys share a little bit about what's the hardest part for you about it when you taking your dog somewhere and you worry about them reacting? What's the hardest part for you? Oh, Sue says, I'm not alone with my struggles.
Yeah.
LG
So there's a
says, I
couple
love
of
that.
people that haven't put a pink heart, but I'm adding you anyway.
Yeah, don't worry
If you
about it.
don't want to be added and you've put
It
something that
just
you
makes it
know,
easier for us to see, right? I'd love the support and the new ideas shared in the live, says LG. Joanne says new ideas for old problems.
I
Oh,
love
yeah,
that one.
that is really nice.
You've just given me one of those moments right in my heart. These sessions and your thoughts make me feel less alone and offer me a comfortable space. You help me see my dog in new ways. Yes. Anyway, back onto the questions.
Here we go. Now, people think that Tess is aggressive, and I feel that she's misunderstood, says Edison, about, the biggest or the
Agree.
hardest part of it. Sue says it's judgment from others. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Who else feels judged sometimes? So, give us a strawberry. You
The
ever feel
Kirsten,
judged?
the look of others, what's wrong with him? Yeah.
I want to see strawberries for judgment.
So strawberries if you feel judged.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, for a lot of us, so, or a lot of the time when things happen, our dogs react and so on, it's the spotlight is always on the dog. The dog has to be trained. People want that behavior to stop, what to do about it. But a big thing with reactivity that makes it such a complex challenge is that it affects us too, right? It's really about the dog and you. It's not just the dog. Not because it's your fault or anything. It's just because, you got a relationship, and because of and that always is complex, isn't it, Julia? I mean, the moment, there is a
Totally.
relationship, there are two beings here, there is interaction for good or for what it's worth, for good or bad. And then there is like people on the outside looking in or not, just seeing things and misunderstanding things. So there's a lot of complexity through that. And then how we worry about our dogs, and then we might worry about other people, we might worry about consequences. There's so many things. So it really adds to it all. It makes it a really big fat knot, right?
It does, doesn't it? It's horrible. And like Emily says, sometimes we think we're afraid of being judged when actually it's not happening, but you still have the fear that it's happening.
Mm,
But
mm.
shall I share what happened on my walk with Dash today?
Yeah, go for it.
Actually, it was with
I'm
both of them, which is kind of important to the story.
mm,
So Dash had a reaction on our walk today. He had a slight reaction yesterday, but before that he hadn't had a reaction for over a year. So he was doing, really amazing.
really good. This is fantastic, actually.
Yeah, he'd become,
Congrats for that.
he'd
Congrats.
become a cool customer. He'd done lots of watching, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 days he's had a reaction. And it was quite as today's was quite strong and it was like, oh my God. And then when he reacts and Hattie then tells him off and to start sharp and stop being such an idiot, which doesn't help, bless her. And when you're a trainer who works in your local area, there's always that thing where I'm thinking, what if somebody puts on Facebook, oh my gosh, I just saw that Julia's dog reacting. She calls herself a trainer. Look at what happened there. She can't control the dog, blah, 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 blah. So
Mm.
that still goes through my head. But then I like, stop it, stop being an idiot. You know better than that. Stop it. So then I told myself off, took the dogs home and had a little think. I am going to be, I wrote this down actually, Barbara, so we can put it on in the group next week about it.
Okay.
Because I thought, well, what
That'd be
is
great.
it that's changed? Why today and yesterday? What
Yeah.
happened? I mean, today's could be related to yesterday's, evidently.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and had a think about it. My son's been home, so the dynamic at home has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have put him
Oh,
off.
that's a biggie. Yeah.
But that the biggest thing I think is we've had problems with our water supply. And there are some big water tankers that keep coming and going at the bottom of the road, and they're pumping water into the system, so making a huge racket. And I think that just constantly, because of course our dog's hearing's better than ours. He's had a look at it. I've let him had a little look, but I think it's going to be bucket filling. So I think it's just a combination of a couple of things that mean his bucket is much fuller than normal. So he's going to have a nice bucket holiday for a few days. We'll then probably do some quiet walks with the dogs individually, just so he can find his groove again. And then we should be back to where we were before. But yeah, it happens to the best of us.
No, totally, totally. We all have tough moments, completely. And
Kirsten's just said we're dog trainers, not because we have perfect dogs, because we have dogs that struggle. And that is absolutely right.
that's
I think
totally
that
it.
the
Yeah.
best trainers that I know have gone down this route because they have had a really challenging dog or a series of really challenging dogs.
Yeah.
I think that's
If you
absolutely true.
if you have one, there are the easy peasy dogs that are there. I mean, we've all had one in our lives, I'm sure, right? And maybe even two. So you don't need to kind of look for advice. You don't need to learn anything. You don't need to improve how you communicate. You don't need to, improve the way you understand your dog. You don't need to do any of these things.
Mm,
No, because the dog is just like easy peasy.
exactly.
And so it's really, in a way, it's really a benefit,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
teaches so much. And
Mm.
learning to see the world from their perspective is so crucial.
Mm.
Joanne's just put something down that I think's worth having a little chat about, actually, Barbara, where she
Okay.
said, I really miss not being able to do all the social activities that I used to do with my non-reactive dogs. And that really, that feeling, it's like a grief, isn't it? It's a feeling of loss. You know,
Mm.
that dream of what you wanted to do with your dog, you feel like you've lost it. And that feeds into this whole embarrassment and everything else. It just means you've got so many more emotions going on, as well as your dog having big emotions going on at the same time. And
Mm.
it can feel like a real loss, can't it?
Yeah.
You
And
know, I
look,
understand that.
I also feel that never is a big word, right?
Never is a massive word, yeah.
And if, uh, yeah, and for some dogs, some things might never be possible because it's just too
Mm.
hard, right? But if we feel a strong need for something, like if you feel you're really missing something, there may be ways to meet that in different
Mm.
ways, right? So I mean, I'm not trying to, to fix the thing. I know that many of us have that, feel that sense of, yeah, grief or loss, as Julia said, because certain things are just not really, really going right now. Um, And in a way, with Noah right now, it's not about the reactivity. With Noah, it is because he got injured in a reactive incident. So and we might, with our agility, it's, now we're off again. And I do think now, what if he can never really do it? What if that was it, for him? And so I totally understand,
Yeah.
what you're feeling.
It's those what ifs, isn't it? And they don't
Mm,
really get you anywhere
mm,
because, it's all about, we say this over and over again, it's all about working with that dog in front of us. And just going back to my showing off about the conference again, one of the discussions that was had right at the end of day two, actually, there was a little panel discussion and someone posed a question about importing dogs from other countries who lived on the streets and had, those sorts of
mm,
lives initially, and whether that was a thing that we should be doing. And the kind of a lot the panel, which were these like awesome people, was saying that a lot of these dogs, they that because they're so they can be so different and they can be so traumatized by loads of different stuff. That, like you say, that you can't fix everything, and it doesn't always. It's not something that you can just say, right, I'm just going to be able to fix everything with these dogs. And these dogs really do struggle. Um, with
Yeah.
the actual action of being brought over, if nothing else, and going from one environment to another, which can be, really hard for
In
them.
itself
Even,
already really hard. Yeah.
yeah, even if it feels like a really nice, it's a lovely, luxuriant environment, but it's not what they're used to. So that's really difficult. But what my point was, I'll get to the point. My point was, it did make me feel really validated because I'm thinking these are the people that I know are amazing. They're the best in their field. And they're kind of saying to me, do you know what? It's okay that if Dash is never perfect, it's okay. Or if Hattie's never perfect because, they've had this traumatic past. And it's something that I've always known deep down inside, but having someone saying that, but that could be the same for all of our dogs. It was just a real sort of validating thing that it's actually, it's okay that they're not. It just, we just have to deal with our own feelings and that loss that we feel.
And also, relationships progress. So, uh, everybody and their dog, are on a different journey, obviously. So I'm just thinking of me and Nawa the other night. I shared that with you already, and I think the reboot is yesterday. How we started working on a new trick. Um, and having, Falky and Stevie now, and they're all just different dogs. They're all so different in their ways, and they're all different as puppies already, little baby border collies, and each one is like different than the one before. And it kind of brought home to me how amazing, what an amazing dog Noah is, and how amazing what an amazing puppy he was, and how he made me look good when I had no clue what I was doing, because he was so amazing.
We could all do with a dog like that at some point, couldn't we?
He was just learning so fast and always on and always ready to do the next thing. And the motivation like big on his face, whatever, mom, let's do it, let's do it. And then, so then I thought, oh, how sad if I can't carry on with him and his agility. And so, yeah, well, we can do other things, this amazing learner is still here. And ultimately, because I've always said, what I really love most about agility is actually all that training that goes into that complex and stuff, right? It's really the training. It's me and the dog working on stuff. That's what I really love about it. So I can still do that totally, with other things. For ages, I've been kind of sucking in all this negativity, and all we ever work on was like the cooperative care, which is also fabulous. But,
Not
anyway,
the
so we
fun
had a
stuff,
really
though,
fun
is it? It's not the
afternoon.
really fun
Yeah,
stuff that you
yeah.
enjoy.
And you have to do fun things to be able to inject the fun into the serious things that are really important, and talk about not being task or outcome oriented. Cooperative care can feel very much like that when it so
Mm.
should not, right? So anyway, long story short, we had such a nice afternoon session when we just, did a bit of this and a bit of that, and a new trick, and he was super happy. Anyway, so the long story, and why I'm rambling on about this, is that sometimes there are different ways to get to the same place. You might not be able to do what you did with your previous dog in the same way, but you might still be able to share, you know, show the dog to a friend, or do something. There might be other ways. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes we need to think out of the box, and, not give up hope. We don't want to stress
Jay's
the
just
dog.
talking about sometimes sitting quietly together in the sunshine can be rewarding too. And you look for those tiny slivers of joy every day and those things that just are a little bit different. Yeah. And that maybe not what you had in mind, but they're still there.
Mm. And Pat says, grief, yes, the judgment hurts, but there's
Yeah.
also that momentary feeling of failing to help her again to prevent the reaction.
Mm,
Now, here's the thing.
mm.
When you spoke about that, about Dash not having had a reaction so long, and then suck, now you got these lorries on the street, and dang, here's a reaction. And my first reaction also was like, The
Damn
record's
it.
blemished. How terrible, right? But you remember what you told me. Another gem that you brought
Don't
back.
throw my own wisdom back at me.
That you brought back from Sindor, right? The thing that no relationship
Yes,
without conflict and our dog's relationship with the world cannot be without conflict,
absolutely true.
right? I mean, a reaction isn't always a train smash. It doesn't always have to be the end of the world because we learn, this is a journey. A year ago, when your dog I'm not talking about you specifically, Julia, anyone,
That's
right, might
okay.
think, okay, last year we had a reaction and I was totally helpless. It was ginormous. My dog was upset for the whole rest of the day, couldn't settle down at home, whatever. You get my point.
Yeah,
Whereas now, we can, you can see, oh God, he's getting a little tense. He was growling, maybe he was barking and lunging, but I knew that I had to get away really quickly, get him somewhere, and then they could shake it off, or in a much shorter time frame they could
that's the biggest
eat,
difference
you
now
know
with
yeah,
everything that I've done is
yeah,
the reaction is information. That's all
yeah,
it is.
the
It's
reframe.
information telling me
Mm.
about how he's feeling, which means I can then look into, okay,
Yeah,
what can I do to help you?
yeah,
It's just communicating how he's feeling.
yeah. So Alison speaks right into this here. She
Yeah,
says,
I love what Alison's written.
and in some ways, I'm thankful that Tessa's reactivity forces me to be highly attentive to her point of view. I suspect that many dogs are giving subtle signs that are missed. I am much more attentive to dogs' feelings when out and about than I would have otherwise been. That is so true, Alison. And you see, when look, there's nothing wrong with going out, doing social activities, taking dogs to the restaurants. Every single puppy I take to the coffee shop or to the restaurant and I prep them and so on. Do I take my dogs out for meals on a regular basis? To be quite honest, I don't. Mostly, really, because my life, revolves around the dogs 24/7 just about. And then when we do go, we don't have a huge social, calendar. That's just us, but when we do go out, very often we look at each other and say, shall we take one of them? There's never a day where we feel so strong that we say, let's take them all, but shall we take this one or that one? And we say, let's just make this about us, right? Let's just have a nice quiet dinner, or, just have without having to make sure the dog is happy and looked after and everything. And how often do we see people taking dogs along and the dog doesn't actually so happy now that we are better at reading what the dogs are communicating? So I'm just putting that out there, right?
I think that's a really great point, and it reminds me of another thing that was said at the weekend. Another little bit of wisdom.
Here we go, share it.
You've got these dogs that kind of, are dogs like we've got that are reactive, struggle, and it's really, we can see what's going on with them. But then you get these dogs that are kind of pretty calm and, go with the flow kind of dogs. And those dogs get taken advantage of. And that's actually really hard because if you had that sort of dog and then you realize you were doing something that they probably didn't like, but they put up with it because they were just that kind of easygoing dog, that would be horrendous. That's exactly what you're saying, really, Alison. At least our dogs are telling us, so we can build that relationship on a really strong foundation of two-way communication,
Yeah.
which is super.
Yeah.
Well,
Kirsten's saying, I'm proud how far my boy came so far, that we can pass by the majority of dogs. And it's very rewarding for me that my husband acknowledges that my training works and he didn't believe in it a year ago. Awesome. Awesome. That's really good.
super
Super.
duper.
Yeah.
Shall we quickly have a look at those? There was a couple of questions.
Yeah.
And if anyone that's watching has any questions, now's your
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, let's.
This has been such a nice conversation, actually. It's felt quite healing, hasn't it? Just to
Yeah,
everyone's just been able to say, yeah, I feel like that too. And I think that's so important.
absolutely.
Do feel what would be nice is if we can keep that conversation going and expand it in the group. Because I do think it's so isolating when you feel like you've got a reactive dog, like Joanne said and Emily said. It can feel like a very lonely place to be. So what would be lovely is if we can just sort of share our experiences and support each other as much as we can about the bad stuff as well as the good stuff, so that we know we're not all on our own.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Okay, so let's have a look at the question. Lost them.
group therapy session, LJ, absolutely. I love it. So, shall I do the first one and you can do the second one?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
You can
We
do
can
like
both
that.
barge in, obviously. So Mars has a question. She's not at the live. She's not here live because she's seeing her vet behaviorist. So she'll catch up later. So if you're catching up later, Mars, hello. So I talked last time about self-soothing behaviors. So that's your chewing, your licking, and your sniffing. Oki is a big licker. So, and he licks Mars, he licks you. So can licking become obsessive? Yes. Sometimes he licks me so much, it's like setting a full bath. It's driving my wild. Can I limit his licking? And yes, it can be. It can be like any other kind of behavior which can become a little bit obsessive, and it can almost become what we call an abnormal repetitive behavior. So in extreme examples, abnormal repetitive behaviors are things like if you went to a really rubbish zoo and you might see tigers pacing up and down the cages. It's that kind of thing, but on a not so dramatic or damaging kind of scale. But yeah, absolutely. It can become quite habitual. It's like this is just what I would do. So, and it is, there's a certain amount of affection there and all that kind of stuff, but I totally get where you're coming from, that it can feel like this is actually a little bit much. So what would I do about that? I would probably just redirect to the dog to do something else. I would give things to do which involve licking. A good tip that again I got at the weekend is that with lick mats, those kind of lick mats and putting something on there, sometimes if you use the side you're supposed to use, they can do more of a gnawing action rather than a licking action. Whereas if you put the stuff on something a bit smoother, that can sometimes encourage more licking. So just play around with those sorts of things a little
Like
bit.
putting
So
it on
it's
the
got,
backside.
yeah, exactly, on the smooth side on the back. So I'm going to try that. The ones I've got at the moment got suckers on, so that's not going to work. So I need to think of another plan. Um, but yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would redirect, so with a toy or with a chew or with a lick mat. Give them something else to do, but provide an outlet so that that licking behavior can happen in a less drowning kind of a way. What do you reckon, Barbara?
And then have a look at when does it happen. So when does it usually happen? Could you teach him to hang out somewhere else during that times? I mean, sometimes these sort of things happen when we're hanging out with our dogs, not doing much, like reading or watching the TV or, and then they're snuggling up, and the next thing we know, they're kind of licking us. It could also be it might be quite good to just look at, a bit of record keeping. When does it happen? Because sometimes just changing routines can have a big effect.
Mhm.
So,
It
and
could be as
sometimes it
well,
might.
thinking
Mhm.
about the bucket. Is something happened to increase the level of
Mm,
the bucket
yeah,
that they
yeah,
need to then reduce?
yeah. So whatever. I mean, it helps to become more proactive, and it helps to understand what's going on better if you have data, right?
Mm.
And often if you write down things, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is always my thing, right? Like if I'm, how do I write things down? Format, it needs to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just write down a quick thing. And after a couple of days, you're amazed. Oh, wow, look at this. I've got a whole list here of stuff. And then you start, answers come to you. Pretty
Yeah.
sure. So that's what, yeah. And if you have a good go to your bed behavior, like hop it up on the hot zone or whatever you call it, and how you cue it, that's often really helpful with things, even if it's just for a minute. Instead of hanging out with you on the couch, well, how about you hang out on your bed? Doesn't mean dog is not allowed on the couch anymore. It just means that we're doing things a little differently for a while. And sometimes that interrupts, the habit stops. That's my
Exactly.
5 cents worth, yeah. Good. Next question. I don't actually see it. So could you read it?
I can indeed. Okay, so it's from Kay from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
How can I work on getting Tashi calm at vet visits? She runs around and pulls on leash and gets the fool around or overexcited. And how can I tell which it is? It's frustrating and embarrassing, especially as her loose leash walking is now so good. Thank goodness, after a lot of cooperative care work, I can now trim her nails myself. I'd appreciate your suggestions.
So, first of all, I don't think it really matters which one it is, whether she's fooling around, over aroused, overexcited. It's probably, what you're seeing is high arousal, could be worry, it doesn't matter where it comes from. You see high arousal for various reasons. And it's wonderful that you've done lots of co-op stuff and have the nail trimming and everything that you can do. So in order to make a dog more comfortable going to the vet, there's a bunch of things we can do. Taking them there between appointments just to make it normalize going to that space is one thing. Being aware of what sets them off. I know it's going to the vet, absolutely, but there's a whole bunch of there's a whole cocktail of triggers. So waiting, waiting before you go get called in. There's people, there is other dogs, strange smells, the fact that they are going to get examined and injected and prodded and may or may not enjoy that. It could be positive excitement because everybody there loves dogs and there's a lot of excitement related to this. So all these things you can kind of work on a little bit in isolation. So the more of these triggers you can eliminate or lower the intensity of, the better. Something that can contribute to the dog's discomfort, a simple thing like it's normally slippery floors because everything at the vet has to be cleaned. So if you have a waiting room scenario to take a mat along that the dog can lay on, not sliding, being a bit further away from everyone, those are all things that you could do. And then when it comes to handling, thinking ahead, from previous visits, what does normally happen on an average visit? How does your vet like you to handle the dog, hold the dog, secure the dog, these things? So all these sort of positions, the way we hold them, all that you can practice that at home, almost like a trick. You can even cue it. It takes a bit of the unpredictability away for the dog, right? Like hug, I call it huggies, and to hold the dog, teaching things like a chin rest, whether or not they are completely solid by the time you get to the vet is beside the point. It's just that you can add familiarity, can inject a level of familiarity into the visit. And then obviously things like taking food, right? So you can reward your dog while they're there. Food lowers the arousal, can be really helpful. If it is at all possible to bring something like a licky mat, while you're waiting, to reduce the time in the waiting area, maybe leave the dog in the car, go in, know when you're on, and only bring them in a little bit earlier. For some dogs, it's easier when they're there longer, so they can settle down. I mean, it depends on the individual dog. Those would be sort of, at the top of my head, these would be my go-to things. If you know precisely, or if there are some particular things that worry your dog, or that she struggles with, then let us know and we can help you figure out a plan for that. Anything you would like to add to that, Julia?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And it's all about really, isn't it? Making that the vets being more of a calm, familiar space
Yeah.
rather than this like massively arousing issue. And also, thinking about the whys, if you can work out, is it because they don't like being prodded around, or is it because the receptionist always gives them a gravy bone, which they're not allowed at home, which is why Hattie likes going to the vets. Oh dear. Right. So now Kirsten was saying that she read an interesting article that it might be the breeding why some dogs can't read the body language of other dogs. So I wanted to ask you about that. Was it an article about the breeding of the dog means that the dog can't read the body language, or is it more what we know, which is that the certain breeds of dog are more difficult to read the body language of, which we know that's the case. I'm just wondering if it was an additional thing, because it's not an article. If it's the former, it's not an article I've seen, and I'd be interested in reading that.
Mm.
Sounds good.
Okay, in the meantime, while we're waiting for a bit more insight there, if you guys have joined a little later and you would like to enter the raffling off a diagnostical with Julia and I, an hour with us in the Zoom, talking about you and your dog, and brainstorming what might be going on if you have a challenge, and then uh, putting together an action plan with you for your dog. So if you're interested in doing that, then all you need to do is post a comment to the live now, while we're here. We're doing it now. A pink heart and something that you really like about these lives to enter in. So if you haven't done it, if you've done it already, you're on Julia's list. Don't worry about it. But if you joined us late and you missed that bit, so then you still have a chance.
So Kirsten's just put in, it's the change in normal looks in dogs, like floppy ears, wrinkled faces, etc. Absolutely. Absolutely. Short nose breeds, curly fur. There's all sorts of different interesting things.
Did I say pink carrot? I know that I meant to say a pink heart. It's possible that I said a pink carrot. Is there
You've
such a thing?
attained a new high level here now, Barbara. Sorry, Lorraine. I was probably wittering on. That's why you didn't hear it.
Well, share with us what you like about these lives. So pink heart emoticon, pink heart, but feel free to put a carrot, and something that you like best about joining these lives. I don't know, Dawn, but I think we make a good team. I
I think
like the
between the
pink
two of
carrot.
you is
I
perfect.
totally do that. Totally
Oh
like it.
dear, that's hilarious.
Oh, happy Genau.
is with us now.
Okay.
And if you have any other questions you'd like to ask, do feel free to bob those in as
Yeah.
well.
Are you ready to get the Wheel of Fortune going?
Lorraine's off to find a pink heart or a carrot. I have the wheel. Oh, Debbie and Jude are going. So Debbie and Jude haven't got a pink heart, but I'm going to put you in anyway. Because, you know, I'm nice like that.
Thanks, Jude. Carrots and bacon?
I like that, Lorraine.
Cool.
Pink
That's
heart.
really cool. Right. And what do you like about these lives, Lorraine? That's really the thing. Oh, here, Jude's giving you lots of pink
Yeah,
hearts.
so you can have them. Super duper. So yeah, Dawn and Lorraine, if you just let us know what you love about the lives, then I can add you. I am,
We want some cookies, you see. These are
yeah,
cookies, you know, hearing you tell us.
relatable and compassionate. Thank you, Dawn.
Ooh. We have a relaxed demeanor.
Yep.
Oh, and we are like woodworkers. Excellent. I love it. Chippy, chippy, chippy.
Lorraine.
Yeah, good. Oh,
Right.
wow. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, you did. We saw it. Anyway, Wheel of Fortune. I want to see it now.
You want to see the Wheel of Fortune? Okay, let me just check. I'm there. I think I'm there. Okay, just make sure I've not missed anybody last minute because I get worried. Great, great, great. Oh, so Andrea's put one in now. Don't think I've got you in there, Andrea. Let me add you.
And says fun, different expressions.
Already got Anne in, I think. Have I? Yes, I have. Great. So we have, let me share. And then if you think you've entered, which I'm sure you have, just check that I've not missed you.
Dawn says, I think I need to stay away from emojis.
Step
So
away from
funny.
the emojis.
Here we
Can you
go. Here
check
we
if
go.
anyone's put in the comments, Barbara, if I've missed anyone?
Not so far.
Because this is a super good one.
I love all the N words on the side there.
Oh, I know.
Dog was flying. Almost looks like Hattie.
That much. Yeah, the ears are Hattie-esque, aren't they? Straight out.
Wheel is
Right.
spinning, spinning, spinning.
Have we... Let's go.
Oh, now it's spinning.
The
Oh.
winner is
Ooh.
Lorraine.
Lorraine, congratulations! Wowzers! That's just brilliant. Super congrats.
So, Lorraine, what we need you to do is drop us an email, rockets. And what I will then do is I will send you a link where you can put in, you can book a time with us, so you can automatically book it. I'll just put the email address here. I suspect we'll probably be doing more of these because they're fun. So if you didn't win, you may get another opportunity, or you can just book one. Exactly that. Exactly that, Lorraine. So I've put the email address there. So if you haven't got it, it's there for you.
Yeah. Coolie woolly.
It's almost like we
It's
knew what we
been
were
a fun
doing,
one.
wasn't
Thank you,
it?
guys.
That was fun
Yeah,
again.
I really loved this whole
And to
interview.
think you
I hope
logged in
that,
late. I
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah. Lucky, lucky.
Better late than never. And I'm sure you will be catching up on the first words of wisdom later. And
Okay.
it's an absolute pleasure. We love
Yeah.
doing these. It's so much fun. So I guess we will see everybody same time. So we're at this new time going forwards for a bit. And we'll see you next week. We've there's already one in the pipeline ready for next week,
Yeah.
which is
Another
about
great
something or other that I've totally forgotten,
one.
which is great. Oh,
Good.
it's not just about your dog. So we're talking about the human side of things as well. So that follows quite nicely on from this.
Totally.
Brilliant.
Cool. Cheers, you guys. Have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are. And we'll see you next time. And thanks so much, for joining and sharing your energy and all your love and all your humor and everything. We really, really, really appreciate it.
And any opportunity you have to getting more people to joining us live, with comments on posts or whatever, do use it because more the merrier. It's just so much fun. Yes, happy Thanksgiving tomorrow to everyone in the
Oh,
US.
yeah.
And
That's
we
true.
will see you next week.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye. Love you lots.